Today's class, what we go touch on is called exercising your mental strength. All right. Exercising your mental strength. All right. So with mental strength, right, we all understand what the mind is. The mind is desperately wicked, right? And it's hold all evil things, right? So with that, if we give in to the evilness that our mind desperately wants to do, then our mental strength is weak, all right? So I want to start off with a definition real quick. Let me get mental toughness, right? It's a measure of individual resilience and confidence that may predict success in sports, education, and the workplace, right? So a lot of times when we think of resilience and mental toughness, like the definition says, we think about sports. We think about workplace and education, mainly sports. You know, how much mental toughness do you have to get through this extensive, hard training, all right? So today, what we're gonna go over is exercising your mental strength for this truth, because it takes a lot of mental strength and resilience for this truth, right? To persevere, to continue in this truth, all right? A trial, right? A trial is a test of performance, qualities, or suitability of someone, right? So our trials mainly are placed there to test our performance, to test our suitability to be in this truth, to test the qualities that we have to gain in this truth, right? Like one thing is repentance. So if you was a liar, you have to stop lying, right? And then what's going to happen is in your trial, you're going to be tested with little lies, little white lies, big lies, small lies. You know what I mean? It's going to be, it's not going to be a huge lie like, you know, you going to jail or something and you got to lie, but it's going to be small lies. Hey, brother, why you didn't answer your phone? You know what I mean? When you looked at it like, now I ain't want to talk to him. But you say, man, I was busy. Knowing good and God well, you wasn't busy. You could take that off the screen. Knowing good and God well that you didn't, right? So let me get Sirach 19:19, all right? So the first thing we got to do, right, when it comes to exercising our mental strength is first we have to examine ourselves, right? The test of performance is an evaluation, right? So every day in this truth, we are being evaluated by the Lord and the spirit of discipline, all right? Let me get Sirach 19:19.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 19 and verse 19. The knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life, and they that do things that please him shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality.
So the knowledge of the commandments is the doctrine of life, right? It's the law of life. The commandments are life. That's how we suppose. Now in this truth, that's how we live our lives. We live our lives according to the commandments of God, which are perfect, right? According to Psalms 19:7, right? Go ahead.
Verse 20. The fear of the Lord is all wisdom, and in all wisdom is the performance of the law and the knowledge of his omnipotency.
So now the fear of the Lord is performing the law, performing the commandments that we understand is the doctrine of life, right? So the first thing we have to do is we have to examine ourselves. Go to Sirach 14:20. All right, because in preparing to exercise your mental strength, first you have to do what is called a baseline test, right? So a baseline test is a sports analogy. You run a mile, you know, as fast as you can. You do as many push-ups as you can, many sit-ups, many weights in a allotted time, right? So now our baseline is keeping the commandments, not eating pork. You know what I mean? Not wearing pants for the sisters, brothers not smoking weed. You know, that's the baseline. You stop doing those things, but guess what? Now you have to evaluate to see within yourself, what else do you have to correct? Go ahead, read Sirach 14:20.
Book of Sirach, chapter 14 and verse 20. Blessed is the man that doth meditate good things in wisdom, and that reasoneth of holy things by his understanding.
Read that one more time.
Blessed is the man that doth meditate good things in wisdom, and that reasoneth of holy things by his understanding.
So it says, blessed are those who meditate on good things, right? What's the good things? The law, statutes, and commandments, right? According to Romans. That's what's good. That's what we have to meditate on, right? So if you evaluating yourself, we have our Bibles to be our baseline, right? This is what we got to line ourselves up to. We have to read the law and perform the law. Do I do that? Yeah, I do that sometimes. Sometimes I murmur, sometimes I gossip. But today I'm gonna evaluate. Today my baseline test is I usually gossip 3-4 times. So I'm gonna make sure I don't gossip today. That's gonna be my main focus, right? Evaluating yourself. Haggai 1:5, right? That's gonna be the main focus, all right? Evaluation, because the trial is testing our performance and our suitability to be in this truth, all right? Haggai chapter 1 and verse 5. I'm just go shotgun these couple scriptures real quick, all right?
The book of Haggai, chapter 1 and verse 5. Now therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider your ways. Verse 6.
Go ahead, read that one more time, my bad.
Verse 5. Now therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts.
So now, the Lord of hosts, right? God is telling us, right? He's telling us something. He's about to give us instructions, and he's about to give us a responsibility, right? He's about to give us a trial. He's about to give us a way to evaluate ourselves. Go ahead.
Consider your ways.
Consider your ways, right? So consider your ways. What do you want to accomplish? You know what I mean? What are your goals, right? What will it take for you to become mentally tough for this truth, right? It's simple sins that we commit that nobody can see, right? I mean, of course, everybody can see if you commit adultery, if you wearing pants, if you eating pork, you know, the people in your house, if you smoking weed, those things you can see, you know what I mean? But lying, you can't really see that unless you get caught up in a lie. Hatred, right? Envy, you know, you got a secret envy, you got secret bitterness brewing up in you, and you can't really see it, but it seeps out of your pores, right? Like sweat. It seeps out of your pores because you're so trying to fight it, but you don't have the mental capacity to fight it, right? So let's go to Sirach 14 and 6. Sirach 14 and 6. All right, so these are some things that we got to evaluate ourselves on, right? So consider our ways, right? Meditate on the wisdom that the Lord gives us, which is his laws, statutes, and commandments, all right? Because once you meditate, you perform these wisdom, this is how you endure the trial. This is how you pass the test. Go ahead, read what you got.
The book of Sirach, chapter 14 and verse 6. There is none worse than he that envieth himself.
There is none worse than he that envieth himself. You can have a talent, right? But because you don't think highly of yourself, guess what? You go sabotage it. You're going to sabotage it. And that happens a lot to us. So that's something that you have to evaluate. You have to consider your ways. Am I a self-sabotager? All right. So that's something that you definitely want to be mindful of. Read that one more time. Read that from verse 5.
Book of Sirach, chapter 14 and verse 5. He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good?
So if you evil to your own self, right? If you take away your own ambitions to reach potential goals, what you gonna do to everybody else around you? They gonna come to you, man, I got this idea, man. Look, I'm thinking about starting an entrepreneur business, but you hate your own self. You gonna say, bro, you know, man, we ain't got time for that, man. You gotta, you know, it's cool, you got a job, but, you know, we gotta do the work of the Lord. But the work of the Lord tells us to build ye houses, right? And dwell in them. And in order to build a house, you have to have a certain amount of finance, right? Like to be an entrepreneur, you know what happens when you become an entrepreneur? Your time opens up, right? Especially when you have a successful business, right? Your time opens up. Now you can do more for the Lord. When you have financial freedom, you can do more for the Lord, right? But a person who envy himself, he's going to always discourage people, right? Read on.
He shall not take pleasure in his goods.
So this person have goods. This person have talents and abilities and potential, but he or she not going to take pleasure in that. Why? Because they hate themselves. And a lot of times we don't consider this, and that be the trial, right? That be the test of your suitability for this truth, right? That's what a trial is, testing you. You hated yourself in the world, and now you come into this glorious gospel. Now you have to evaluate yourself. That's not what the Lord wants from me. The Lord said, I'm a peculiar people. I'm above all nations. But when I look at myself, I hate myself, right? Read on.
There is none worse than he that envieth himself. And this is a recompense of his wickedness.
He said, this is the recompense, our payment of wickedness, of our own wickedness, right? So we got to be mindful of this, right? So if you envy yourself, that's showing a sign of wickedness, because you have been chosen by the Lord, right, himself, to bring forth fruit. And you can't bring forth bad fruit because don't nobody want no bad fruit, right? So 1 Samuel 30 and 6. 1 Samuel 30 and 6, right? So we got to evaluate ourselves. And the first step to gaining mental strength is evaluation, all right? Is evaluation. Go ahead. 1 Samuel 30 and 6.
This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 30 and verse 6. And David was greatly distressed, for the people spake of stoning him, because the soul of all the people was grieved, every man for his sons and for his daughters.
So when you read this history, right, David went out to war with his men, and this is when they came in and killed the wives, took wives and everything, right? Took the women captives and the kids and everything, right? So the men was mad at David, and David said he was distressed because the people talked about stoning him, right? This was the test of his confidence level, because he was the king. He was a mighty man, right? Read that again. Read it again.
And David was greatly distressed, for the people spake of stoning him. Because the soul of all the people was grieved.
All the people was mad, and all the people was sad because of what happened to their families, right? So it's going to come a time in this truth where things is going to happen to the ones you love, you know what I mean, the ones you care for, and it might be another person's fault. It's your fault, man. If I would have never been with you, that's what's happening. They're mad at David because these men went to go fight for their nation, and this is what happened. Right? So now they're greatly distressed. But let's see what David did. Go ahead.
Every man for his sons and for his daughters. But David encouraged himself.
David did what?
Encouraged himself in the Lord his God.
So David understood why these people was mad. And David said, what? I'm going to encourage myself in the Lord. Right? How do you encourage yourself in the Lord? Right? Because I was talking about being envious to yourself. How are you going to encourage yourself to the Lord, right? Deuteronomy 7 and 6, because the Lord said, I'm above all people, right? John 15, 16. Christ chose me. I can get over this trial. I can get over this distress, right? You got a family member, a kid, don't want to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. That's distress. And they ridiculing you because you like, look, I don't do that no more, right? So now you got to encourage yourself in the Lord, right? Keep reading.
Verse 7. And David said to Abiathar, the priest, Ahimelech's son, I pray thee, bring me hither the ephod. And Abiathar brought thither the ephod to David. And David inquired at the Lord.
David did what?
And David inquired at the Lord.
So now, right? So David went to the Lord. That's how he encouraged himself. He went to the Lord in prayer, right? So when we evaluate ourselves and we find out what's wrong and we find out the trials that's continually trying us, right? We got to go unto the Lord, right? Go ahead.
saying, shall I pursue after this troop? Shall I overtake them?
So he's doing what? He's asking the Lord what to do, right? That's something that we have to do. We have to ask the Lord what to do, right? Then after we ask the Lord what to do and we wait and be patient, and it comes to us through the leadership, right? It comes to you through a class, right? Now you got to set a goal, right? Let's go to Sirach 42:7. Now it's time for you to set a goal. You evaluated yourself, right? You said, I deal with lying, I deal with murmuring, I deal with gossiping, I deal with envy, I deal with fornication, I deal with lust, right? This is your baseline. You found your baseline and what you deal with. Now you went unto the Lord and you inquired that, right? You inquired of the Lord, Lord, help me be disciplined with these things. Lord, how should I overcome this, Lord? How should I win the battles amongst myself, right? Because I envy myself and I have no confidence in me, so I'm going to have confidence in you, right? I pray thee, Lord, right? So the first thing you do is write a goal. Sirach 42:7.
The book of Sirach, chapter 42 and verse 7. Deliver all things in number and weight, and put all in writing that thou givest out or receivest in.
So it says deliver all things in number and weight, and put it all in writing, right? So your goals, you should clearly have a clear goal, right? Let's say it's not a goal just for to fight these spirits. Let's say you have a goal, you want to be an entrepreneur, right? What is it going to take to become an entrepreneur, right? What is it going to take to get my business off the ground? What is it going to take for me to make this amount of money? I want to make $10,000 by the end of 2022. What is it going to take? You have to write down clear goals and remind yourself daily of these goals, right? So this is the second step in building mental strength. Write things down, right? And it's easier said than done, because I struggle with it too. I struggle with writing things down. You know what I mean? Sometimes I do it for a good 2 days, and then next thing you know, I forget. I put stuff in my calendar. You know, if people tech savvy, you can put stuff in your calendar. But it's important to write things down, right? Matthew 17:20. So yes, remind yourself daily, right? And when you do that, you're going to understand where you're trying to reach to. And then once you understand where you're trying to reach to, it's about repetition, right? Sometimes you go get it. Sometimes you not. Sometimes you go fail. Sometimes you don't. It's some stuff on social media about taking pictures, like photographers and stuff. They show their pictures and it says, sometimes I'm good. Sometimes I'm shit. You know what I mean? And it's like, dang, you know, when you sit back and you think about it, you like, it's funny, but really sit back and think about it. Sometimes you go be on fire. Sometimes you not. Sometimes you go wake up, I'm in my scriptures 4 chapters a day. Some days you go wake up and don't even want to pray. Sometimes you go be calling brothers and sisters. Sometimes you go ignore phone calls, right? But it's about repetition. How hard is it to say, hey, Shalom, I'm kind of busy right now. Let me give you a call back. Okay, for sure. Shalom. Most High in Christ bless. You know what I mean? What's hard about that, right? It's a little more harder than just swiping. It's a little more harder than that, right? But guess what? As you keep doing that, you're going to build mental strength. You're going to build your mental strength to fight these spirits that continuously hold you back, right? We all been in the world for 20 plus years. So we got 20 plus years of doing whatever the hell we wanted to do. Now we got to reprogram our minds, right? Matthew 17:20. All right. So now once you got your goal, it's time to practice, right? Matthew 17:20. Where do we start at? Go ahead.
The book of Matthew, chapter 17 and verse 20. And Jesus said unto them, because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain.
So read that again. If you have what?
If ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed.
If you have faith of a grain of a mustard seed, right? Let me get the tree from the mustard seed, right? Because when we think of mustard seed, we like, oh, you just got to have faith like that, right? It's a little seed, right? But what what does it grow into? Right? What does the mustard seed grow into? Right? Can I get that picture, please? Look at that. Look at that. Look at that tree, right? Look how big that tree is. That's a great tree. That tree is big. It looks small on the picture, but if you were standing next to that tree, you would look like a little bit of grassy hill. That's a great tree. So read that again.
And Jesus said unto them, because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed.
If you have great faith, right? That's the type of faith we got to have. We got to have great faith. We got to believe these scriptures with our heart, our souls, and all of our being, right? That's what having great faith is. He said, if you have faith of a grain of a mustard seed, because a grain grows into what we just seen, a huge tree, right? Go ahead, read on.
If ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place.
So you can't have just a little tiny faith saying, oh, mountain move. No, you got to have great faith. You got to really believe you can overcome. You got to really believe that fasting works. You got to really believe that prayer works. You have to really believe that the scriptures and the counsel works, right? You get counsel. You have to believe that the Most High put these men in position to give me the counsel according to his spirit, that once I apply it, everything's going to work out. Maybe not in the time that I want it, but it's going to happen. Like what Mike F say, he ain't always there when you want him, but he always there when you want him, right? Because it might not happen when you want it. I want it to happen now. And the Lord said, no, now it's going to happen when you in desperation, when you distressed, when you been encouraging yourself in the Lord, when you've been praying unto the Lord, right? So read on.
Ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove. And nothing shall be impossible unto you.
And nothing should be impossible unto you. So now what you have to do, since you're setting your goals, right? Start with a little 1 goal, 2 goals, 3 goals, a monthly goal. This month, I want to practice on reading my 4 chapters, right? And because I'm reading my 4 chapters, that's going to help me trust the Lord. Now you have to practice great faith. When you don't want to do it, that's when you got to do it, right? It's chapters in the book where it's 7 verses. You know what I mean? It's 8 verses, 10 verses, right? A lot of times we think when we read our 4 chapters, we got to read 77 verses. No, you can go to the book of Psalms and read 10, 11 verses and have the right spirit, right? And get the spirit of the Lord on you. You see what I'm saying? So let's go to Proverbs 24 and 27, right? So you want to start small and build up and build up. You know when you evaluate yourself, you know your baseline, right? You know your baseline. You know where you got to start. You know your weaknesses. So now you have to work on building it. If you got to get counsel, go to your counselor. Talk. It's right. I know it's kind of shaky telling people your business, right? It's kind of shaky. I've been around a couple months. I don't really know this person like that. I don't know if they go tell me my business. I really don't want to. Guess what? You envy yourself, because you counseling with yourself, it ain't no good, because you've been counseling with yourself for what, 20 plus years. And where has it got you? Where has counseling with ourselves got us? Right? Nowhere, right? You might, got a little bit of, success in your life, right? Carnally. But when it comes to biblically and spiritually, we were dead. We were dead spiritually. So now that we got the Most High bringing the spirit back on the earth to give men, give me Sirach 40. This ain't in my lesson, but Sirach 40, real quick. All right, Sirach 44. Sirach 44 and 1. Sirach 44 and 1.
The book of Sirach, chapter 44 and verse 1. Let us now praise famous men.
Let us do what?
Let us now praise famous men.
So the men that's in the leadership position, right, in IUIC, right, these are famous men. They didn't get in this position just because. They got in this position because they did the work. They've been through the trials. They get the counsel from upper leadership. They follow the orders. They do what needs to be done, and they strive to continue to fight and become perfect. He said, let us praise great men, right? And what's a way to praise great men? By trusting in them, going to get counsel from them, right? You got a goal you want to reach. You know what I mean? You knew in this truth and you don't know how to battle lust. You a young brother, you don't know how to battle lust. You know what I mean? Go to an older man who been in the truth. Look, man, I'm dealing with this, that, and the other. Yeah, it's scary. You know, you don't really trust the brother. You don't know what's going to be said about you. But if you have that great faith, if you have that faith of a mustard seed in the Lord, then these men ain't going to let you down. The Lord ain't going to let you down, right? That's why he said, cursed be the man who trusted in man, right? You come to the leadership, but you really coming to the Lord that put these men in place. Because if we not following what the Lord say do, guess what he gonna do? He gonna move us the hell out the way and bring somebody else. And we've seen it countless of times. Like, I don't know who been around for the last 3 years, 3 years, right? But Captain Gedaliah, Captain Zakar, you know what I mean? These men kind of came out of nowhere, right? The men that the people used to praise, what, Josiah and all them, right? What happened? The Most High moved them the hell out the way and brought greater men. Right? So I'm saying all that to say is if these famous men ain't doing what the Lord say, the Lord go move them out the way, and you have to trust the system, right? You have to trust it. Go ahead, read on.
Let us now praise famous men and our fathers that begat us. The Lord hath wrought great glory by them.
The Lord brought what?
The Lord hath wrought great glory by them.
So the Lord's going to bring great glory by these men, by the famous men in our congregation, right? So don't be afraid to counsel with them, right? If you got a goal, you evaluate yourself and you want to learn how to get over the hump, right? That's what you go do, right? Michael Jordan, sports analogy, I play sports. So Michael Jordan went to men before him to learn how to be great. Kobe Bryant did it. LeBron James did it, right? These people did these things. Even artists, you know what I mean? Drake and J. Cole and all them, they went to men before them because they was famous men. So why shouldn't we be more confident to go to famous men that have been fighting this battle longer than us and ask them for glory? Because read verse 2 again. Because this is why we should do it.
The book of Sirach, chapter 44 and verse 2. The Lord hath wrought great glory by them. God has wrought great glory by these leaders, right? We got Captain Benaiah. We got Officer Shem. We got Officer Judah. We got Officer Raphiah. We got Officer Uriah. We got all these great men, right, that help bring forth this school. This is glorious, right? We got a place to come and congregate, come to the feast days, right? The schools be open during the week, you know what I mean? A place where you can come. So that's why we should come to these men, because God has wrought glory by them because they rolling in the spirit, right? So I just digress. Let's go to Proverbs 24, right? 27, right? So start small. Start small. Counseling is a small thing that you can do. You know what I mean? Building a rapport, building trust with someone, right? Go ahead. The book of Proverbs, chapter 24 and verse 27. Prepare thy work without.
Do what?
Prepare thy work without.
Prepare yourself, right? So you got your goals down. You writing your goals down. You sitting there, you evaluating yourself. You got 10 goals you written down. Now you got to prepare yourself. What is it going to take to accomplish this goal, right? This is the process of exercising your mental strength, building repetition, right? If every day you have to write down, today I will not lie. You wake up in the morning, today I will not lie. In the afternoon, today I will not lie, right? This is something that we have to practice, right? Go ahead.
Prepare thy work without and make it fit for thyself in the field. And afterwards, build thine house.
So that's saying prepare the work and make sure it's the work that fit you, right? Just because I see Officer Araya going to school and getting his master's in business, right? I might not be fit for that. Why would I try to go to school? I seen him do it, so I'm going to go and try to get my master's in business. He prepared himself for that work. That work is fit for him. So now I have to find work that's fit for me. And then once I write down my goals, my abilities, my talents, things that's fit for me, then afterwards do what?
And afterwards, build thine house.
Then go put the work in, right? Then go put the work in. So next we jump into, since now you're putting the work in, now we jump into small physical wins, right? Small wins will help you prepare for the big battles to come, right? So we getting small wins. We writing our goals down, right? We evaluated ourselves, right? We understand our baseline. We understand what we're struggling. We understand our weak points. We understand what we want to do. We wrote those things down, right? Now we practicing certain things, right? I believe I can do it, right? I seen this commercial. It said, no, I was watching a video. It said, teachers tell their students, it's a school in Chicago, they tell their students when they fail, they don't tell them you failed. They say, oh, you didn't pass yet, right? You didn't complete this yet. Meaning what? You still have a chance to do it. You're not a failure. You just haven't did it in this allotted time. And that's so heavy because them doing it is that small win. You see what I'm saying? Because they probably didn't even want to take the test. Sometimes you don't even want to get up and go to work. Sometimes, you know what I mean? But you get up and go to work, and now guess what? Now when that bigger battle come, when you don't want to go to the Sabbath, when you don't want to talk to brothers and sisters, you've been practicing that small win, which is getting up in the morning and doing what you have to do. You know what I mean? And now when it comes to serving the Lord, it's the same thing. You have to do it. You have to do it, right? So let me get Luke 16 and 10, right? So for the small battles, right? For the small battles will help you become ready for the big battles, right? So like, for example, right? Arguing over something that's already done, right? Arguing over something that's already done. What can you do about it, right? It's a saying, don't cry over spilled milk, right? What should you do? Get a napkin and clean it up, right? It's a situation that happens of lack communication. You know, and a person come to you, look, you got to communicate better, this, that, and the other. What you supposed to do? Oh man, look, see, nah, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to say, you know what? I'm gonna make sure I be more mindful of how I move with that. I'm gonna make sure I communicate better. You know what I mean? This is the small win because guess what? Let's say you have a spirit of variance, which is always brawling. You know, you always got to get the last word. In that moment, you got the small win. You just, I can say this, but I'm just going to say, you know what? Okay, I will do better. That's a small win. So when that big time come, when a brother or sister offends you, now you go say, look, I need to communicate with you instead of gossiping about them, instead of backbiting, instead of murmuring about them, instead of welling off and hitting them, because you practice the small win, right? Luke 16 and 10. So now we're practicing small physical wins to get us ready for the bigger battle.
The book of Luke, chapter 16 and verse 10. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much.
So read that again.
He that is faithful in that which is least.
So these small wins, right? These small wins is showing your faith, right? Remember, it says, he that envy himself, right, to whom he do no good. I butchered it. I put two scriptures together. But Christ just said, if you have faith in the little things, right, meaning what? You can overcome what you battle, right? You can overcome the lack of confidence, right? You can overcome the fear of dealing with people. You can overcome the fear of showing up, of bringing the scriptures out, right? Of starting that business that you want to start, right? You can overcome that. Christ said, if you faithful with a little bit, go ahead.
He that's faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much.
So when that big battle come, guess what? Your diligence in these small battles, right, is go have you ready. That big battle, you go be like, man, I can, but nope, I've been practicing this. It's going to be, your mental toughness is going to kick in. You're going to persevere, that resilience, right? Can I get that definition down, please? Resilience. Let me speed up. Go ahead, read that.
The definition of resilience: the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties, toughness.
Right, so you have a higher capacity to recover from difficulties. Meaning what? You used to always scream people head off. They say something to you, I don't care. Now you building on that resilience. You got that as a goal. Let me not scream at somebody today, right? That's a goal. I always yell at people. I always get mad easy. Let me work on not getting mad easy. Now the resilience kick in. Now when that time coming is difficult and your blood is boiling, you want to scream somebody head off, the small wins of communicating kicks in. Now you like, you know what? I ain't even go do it. Look, this is what you did to me, right? And if they apologize, they apologize. If they don't, you working on building your mental strength so when that bigger battle comes. Proverbs 12:24. So when that bigger battle comes, this is what it's all about. Building your mental strength, right? So we started off, we evaluated ourselves, right? Then after we evaluated ourselves and got our baseline, got our weaknesses, our strengths, what we battle with, where we want to be in life, right? Then you're going to write down your goals. Now, this ain't going to happen overnight. You just ain't going to evaluate yourself one night and be like, I got it. I know what I want to do with my life. You know what I mean? You're going to sit there, you're going to continue to evaluate yourself, and you're going to write things down, right? And then you're going to start practicing small wins, right? Go ahead.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 12 and verse 24. The hand of the diligent.
The what?
The hand of the diligent.
The hand of the diligent. That means you have to be focused on being diligent about changing. We have to be focused about changing. You know what makes you mad. So when it makes you mad, you have to focus in on doing things according to the law, according to the Bible. We not in the world anymore, right? So read that again.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 12 and verse 24. The hand of the diligent shall bear rule.
Should do what?
Shall bear rule.
You're going to rule your spirit. You're going to rule your mind. That's what it's all about. Gaining mental strength, gaining mental toughness is about ruling your mind. It's about recovering when something get difficult, right? Because when things get difficult, a lot of people shut down. Oh, I don't know. And that resilience go kick in. You know what? Let me not shut down. Let me put my back up and let me make sure I do things according to the law. That's why in the military, they have them going over things over and over and over. And they do things so extraneous that they have resilience. So when it get difficult, solutions kick in. Instead of I'm focused on the problem. No, solutions kicking in. That's why we have to focus. Because the hand of the diligent should bear rule over their spirit. Go ahead.
But the slothful shall be under tribute.
The slothful, you always go be a slave to your sins. You always go be a slave to your sins. You're never going to get over that small thing. You're never going to get over that lying if you're not diligent about lying. Oh, here's an opportunity. I can lie. No, let me focus on not lying. So now when you get caught in the midst of something, God forbid, or you in a situation where it's big, now you've been practicing not lying for so long. You look, leadership. Yeah, I did that. I'm not even gonna lie. I did that, and I'm ready to take my consequences because I knew I was going against the scriptures. I knew I became tribute to my flesh, and I deserve the judgment that's coming. That's from all the small wins that you get, right? Sirach 7 and 15. All right, I'm going to speed it up a little bit. Sirach 7 and 15. Go ahead when you got it.
The book of Sirach, chapter 7, verse 15. Hate not laborious work, neither husbandry, which the Most High hath ordained.
So hate not laborious work, right? So laborious work, it's small things. If you work at a warehouse, what happened? It's the small things. You got to bend over, pick up a box, put it over there, grab another box, put it over there, tape a box, grab some new tape, grab the box, close the box, tape the box, slide the box, grab another box. These are small things that you're doing, right? And it's laborious and it's so small, so minute. You don't even, your brain, you wake up and from your sleep, you doing that because you've been doing it so much. You get the box, close the box, tape the box, slide the box. Get the box, close the box, tape the box. Now that's your mindset. Just like with this. Here's my opportunity to lie. Nope, I'm going to tell the truth. Here's my opportunity to gossip. Nope, I'm going to shut my mouth. Here's my opportunity to murmur. Nope, I'm going to shut my mouth. I'm going to go get counsel and ask questions, right? Here's my opportunity to actually start a business, right? But I don't want to because I'm afraid, because all this time I've been afraid. I've been psyching myself out. I've been sabotaging myself. Now developing mental toughness is like, nope, here's a time of difficulty. I'm going to recover because I'm not that same person, right? We're not the same people that we used to be. Let me get 2 Corinthians 5:17, right? We're not the same people. We are not. And if we continue to remain saying we different, but doing the same thing we've been doing before this truth, guess what? Your mental strength is weak. And that's why we have to build our mental toughness. We have to build and exercise our mental strength, right? Because if anybody know anything about exercise, it's always hard to start. You know what I mean? We got some brothers who love it. I'm going to tell you straight. I used to love it. Right now, I'm just like working out. Man, can I just not do it and get in shape? But I can't. I got to make sure my small wins. I got to do a little running. I got to do some push-ups. I might not be able to get down there and do 100 push-ups. I might have to do 25. I might have to start with 25 a night, 50 a night. Why? To get myself going, right? Go ahead, read what you got.
The book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 5 and verse 17. Mm-hmm. Therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Mm-hmm. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. So now, since we are becoming new creatures in Christ, right? Now we have to really understand what we're doing. We have to build our mental strength, right? And one way to help with building your mental strength is not wasting your energy on uncontrollable things, right? If you can't control it, don't waste your time trying to figure out how to control it, right? Don't waste your energy, right? Instead, prepare for what's coming, right? Let's go to.
We used to scream Black Power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.